Hail Hydra!
If someone slanted a comic book as far to the right as Nick Spencer has slanted Captain America to the left, it'd be considered Marvel's Mein Kampf. CNN would have hourly updates about Marvel's merciless comic book hate speech. President Obama would hold a White House tea garden ceremony. Let me be clear. If I had a son, he would probably look like Sam Wilson. In short, it'd be holy terror.
Holy terror?
Yeah.
I make no apologies.
No, they should.
Well, one day in 2001, 3,000 of my neighbors were ruthlessly and senselessly murdered. And so I wrote and drew a book that was partly a reaction to that, to get the rage out. And also, my attempt at bringing back the kind of propaganda that was done in the 1940s, back when, Superman was punching out Adolf Hitler. And I'm very proud of the piece of work.
Look, it's no secret that in recent years, faced with flagging direct sales, Marvel have embraced what I call the HBO method, which is to say that with HBO subsisting on subscriptions and thus selling preposterously little, if any, actual advertisement on their television network, their lips are perpetually pressed to the puckered anus of television critics and television critics alone. Audience interaction? What audience interaction? So long as the black turtleneck triad and the editorial board at the Times has a sheetrock stiffy, everything's copacetic. Marvel as such have, in the last 6 years, cultivated a demonstrable disdain for their audience. The problem? They lack a subscription service 1/5 as vibrant as HBO's, and their critical acclaim really just consists of a pit-stained gaggle of noxious Newsarama nerds beating it raw to the Bronze Age. Think Linkara, but with better writing.
Frank Miller can't write women unless they're in some way sexualized.
Wrong.
For additional evidence of this policy, look no further than Mark Waid's mercifully concluded Daredevil run. The year is 2011. Thanks to contrarian spite in the wake of the success of Chris Nolan's The Dark Knight, grimdark has become a spiteful pejorative. Retro, self-aware, and irreverent became the buzzwords of the day. Pop culture references galore. As such, DC and Marvel began cranking out campier, more humorous retrosploitation of classically grimdark heroes. All that is, except for Daredevil, the original noir superhero. Enter Mark Waid, dry hump of the Bronze Age to completion. From issue to issue, his aimless pseudo-retro affectations became more and more trite and unmotivated. Sales slumped almost immediately from the high 20s, 30s, and 40s to barely cracking the top 50 and ultimately teetering on the edge of falling off the top 100 entirely. Yet for 5 years, Marvel persisted with a Waid regime that remains the lowest Daredevil run since the 98 post-bankruptcy relaunch, and they did it for one reason, and one reason alone. The critics were creaming their jeans. And may I state for the record, fuck each and every one of you disingenuous hipsterific homunculi for doing so. The HBO effect, ladies and gentlemen. The HBO effect. So how the fuck did we go from Stan Lee's soapbox to Axel Alonso's bully pulpit? Hail Hydra is not the problem here, folks. It's a fucking heel turn. Comics are rife with them. The fact that the entire comic and the Sam Wilson run which preceded it consists of unreadably ham-handed PC proselytism with all the subtlety of Jonah Hill and a slingback thong is the problem. In a nutcase, Nick Spencer is the fucking problem. And he's been the problem for the duration of this dog shit. Dialogue balloons that consume no less than a third of the fucking panel, suffused with insufferable leftist diatribes, cutesy libertarian digs like the John Galt snipe job in issue 1, or a reimagined Red Skull that may as well be decked out in a beet red Make America Great trucker hat. It's not cute, it's not clever. For a man who gets paid to write, it's shockingly inarticulate, and it may well be the most meandering, incongruous briar of mangled verbiage since the fucking Ultimate Warrior comic. At least he had the creativity to make up his own fucking words. In the wake of a surfeit of criticism stemming incidentally from left, right, and center, Marvel is already playing and the Cap has always been about contemporary politics card. And in the deep of denial and the shallow of thought, they would be absolutely correct in that assumption. Whether punching out Hitler or knocking the cat piss out of Tojo, the Star-Spangled Avenger's been balls deep in the cultural zeitgeist from literally word go. Where they part company with reality, in my opinion, is when they conveniently fail to mention that Golden Age Cap ventured into the briny waters of political discourse as a means of uniting the country. Nick Spencer has done it as a means of dividing the country along party lines during a contentious election season, just as he has for the totality of his Captain America run. But if the piteous sub-top 50 sales figures for his horrendous Sam Wilson Cap series are any indication, nothing is dividing faster than Marvel's audience. The uranium-235 atoms and the fucking Trinity bomb couldn't subdivide any faster. Marvel editor Tom Brevoort has defended this position on the basis that it conforms to the zeitgeist of the present. The problem? That zeitgeist comes at the behest of a cat who's routinely lambasted by every major news and entertainment media outlet, Marvel very much included, and your response to said movement is to cast this figure as the Red fucking Skull! A literal Nazi! The Trump is literally Hitler meme doesn't get any more literal than that great big goose shit right there. I mean, fuck, if you're gonna do it, at least don't be a hack. Glue a dead fox to his dome and call him the Orange Skull or some shit. Because the only thing this manner of conceited New York liberal grandstanding serves is to make Trump's wall 10 feet higher and my comic reading list one book shorter. So enjoy your headline grabbing sales pop while it lasts, Marvel, because come issue 3, we're right back to the status quo. A bad writer on a bad comic, savagely brutalizing his literary crank like he caught it breaking into his house, and always at the reader's expense. See you at the bottom of the top 100, Mr. Spencer. I'm Razor Fist. Hail Hydra!
So we make us